Black Friday was always a hectic time at the King of Prussia Mall in Pennsylvania, but I never expected it to turn into a night of horror. I worked there as a security guard, and that year, the mall was packed with more shoppers than usual, all hunting for the best deals. The day started early, with crowds lining up before dawn. As the doors opened, a flood of people poured in, and the chaos began. My job was to patrol the mall, ensuring safety and order, but with the sheer number of people, it felt like an impossible task. Around midday, things took a strange turn. I received a call on my radio about a disturbance in one of the quieter sections of the mall. I made my way there, pushing through the sea of shoppers. When I arrived, I found a small crowd gathered outside a closed store. The metal shutter was halfway down, and the people were peering in curiously. I asked what was going on, and someone said that they had heard screams coming from inside the store. I called for backup, cautiously lifting the shutter. The store was dark, and the only light coming was from the display windows. I stepped inside, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The store looked like it had been abandoned in a hurry. Clothes were strewn all over the floor, mannequins knocked all over, and then I heard it, a faint whimpering coming from the back. I followed the sound to the storage room. There, tied to a chair, was a young woman, her mouth gagged and eyes wide with terror. I quickly radioed for help and untied her. She was shaking, unable to speak. As I waited for the police and paramedics, I checked the store's security footage. The cameras had captured everything. A man had entered the store, posing as a customer. He waited until the store was empty, and then he attacked the woman, who turned out to be an employee, and dragged her to the back. The footage showed the man's face clearly, and within hours, the police had identified him as a local with a history of violent behavior. He was arrested later that day, trying to leave town. The woman was taken to the hospital, traumatized but physically unharmed. I was commended for my quick action, but I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The mall, a place of festive cheer and shopping, had become a scene of crime. That Black Friday left a mark on us all at the King of Prussia Mall. It was a stark reminder that danger can lurk even in the most crowded and seemingly safe places. From then on, I approached my job with a new level of vigilance, always aware that the next emergency could be just around the corner. And every Black Friday since, I've been reminded of the day when the frenzy of shopping turned into a fight for someone's life. Black Friday at Bath & Body Works always promised chaos, but I never imagined it would turn into a nightmare. I was there as a customer, eager to get some holiday deals. The store in our local mall was packed, the air thick with the scent of candles and perfumes. I had been browsing for a while, my arms laden with products, when I first noticed her. She was a middle-aged woman, her voice rising above the din as she argued with a store employee, classic Karen, demanding to speak to the manager over a sold-out item. I tried to steer clear, focusing on my shopping, but our paths crossed at the checkout line. She was right behind me, muttering under her breath about the terrible service. I could feel her eyes boring into my back, but I did my best to ignore her. As I reached the cashier, the woman suddenly spoke up. "Excuse me, I was here first," she said, her voice sharp. I was taken aback. "I'm sorry, but I've been in line," I replied, trying to keep my tone polite. She didn't take it well. Her face turned red, and she began to shout, causing a scene. The cashier looked panicked, and the other customers started to stare. That's when things escalated. The woman lunged at me, trying to grab the items from my hands. I stepped back, Shocked at her aggression, a scuffle ensued, and in the chaos, one of the candles I was holding dropped to the floor and shattered. The scent of the candle was overpowering, filling the air. The woman slipped on the spilled wax and fell, hitting her head against the display shelf, and the store went silent, everyone frozen in shock. I rushed to help her, but she was unconscious. Blood trickled from a gash on her forehead. The store manager called 911, and within minutes, paramedics and a mall security guard arrived. The woman was taken away on a stretcher, still unconscious. I gave my statement to the police, explaining what had happened. They assured me it was self-defense, but I couldn't shake the feeling of guilt. The store closed for the rest of the day, and I went home, my Black Friday shopping forgotten. The incident replayed in my head over and over. What started as a simple shopping trip had turned into a violent confrontation. I later learned that the woman had suffered a concussion, but would recover. I was relieved to hear she was okay, but the experience left a lasting impact on me. I avoided Bath & Body Works for a long time after that, and I became wary of crowded places. The incident was a harsh reminder of how quickly situations can escalate and how anger can lead to unintended consequences. Every Black Friday since, I've opted to shop online, avoiding the frenzy of the stores. The memory of that day, the scent of the candle, and the sight of the woman lying on the floor serve as a reminder of the darker side of human nature, hidden beneath the surface of ordinary life. Black Friday at the Raleigh Best Buy was always a freak show, but I never expected it to turn into a personal standoff. I was there for one thing, the PS5, which was on a massive discount. I'd been saving up for months, and this was my only chance. I arrived early, the line already snaking around the building. The air was crisp, and everyone was bundled up, sipping coffee and chatting about the deals. When the doors finally opened, it was like a dam had burst, and people rushed in. I was swept along with the crowd. Inside, it was chaos. Shelves were being emptied at lightning speed. I made my way over to the electronics section, my heart pounding. There it was, the last PS5 on the shelf. I grabbed it, feeling a rush of triumph. As I headed to the checkout, clutching my PS5, I noticed a woman eyeing me. She was in her 40s with a determined look. I didn't think much of it until I was in line, and she approached me. "That's the console my son wants," she said, her voice tense. "You just took the last one. You should let me have it. It's for my son." I was taken aback. "I'm sorry, but I got it first. I can't just give it to you." Her face reddened. "You're ruining my son's Christmas," she hissed. "You're being selfish." I tried to ignore her, but she wouldn't let up. She started raising her voice, drawing attention. People were staring, and someone even started filming on their phone. Suddenly, she reached for the console, trying to yank it from my hands. I held on tight, shocked by her audacity. We struggled, the box caught between us. "Security!" someone shouted. A guard hurried over, pulling the woman away. She was still shouting, claiming that I had stolen it from her. The guard asked for my receipt, which I showed him. He nodded, confirming it was mine, and turned to the woman. "Ma'am, you need to leave," he said firmly. She was escorted out, still yelling and making a scene. I was left shaken, the joy of getting the PS5 overshadowed by the encounter. As I left the store, PS5 in hand, I couldn't shake off the feeling of disbelief. Black Friday had always been hectic, but I never thought it would lead to a physical confrontation over a gaming console. That day, I learned how intense and desperate people could get over the holiday deals. It was a stark reminder that sometimes the cost of a discount could be more than just money. From then on, I viewed Black Friday differently, wary of the lengths people might go to for a deal. The memory of the woman's angry face stayed with me, a reminder of the darker side of the holiday shopping madness.